Question 98. You're looking at 2 times 2 over 3. There's no fraction here, but there's a fraction on this side. So what we do is we can just turn this one into a fraction. So 2 over 1. So you write it down as 2 over 1. So you're looking at 2 over 1 times 2 over 3. And with fractions, you just multiply straight across. You go 2 times 2 is 4. And 1 times 3 is 3. That's your answer. We don't need to bring them to mixed number just yet. Next question. Question 99. Here, you see there's a sign in front of it. Is a multiplication. Now, just like previous problem, multiplication of fractions, you multiply across numerators and denominators. There you go. So the answer here will be 1 times 7 over 4 times 3. So 1 times 7 is 7. 4 times 3 is 12. That's your answer. Question number 100. 3 times 5. 3 over 5 times 5 over 3. A couple of ways I'm going to show you how to do it. First of all is 3 times 5, which is going to be 15 in the numerator. And in denominator is 5 times 3, which is also 15. 15 over 15 is simplified to 1 over 1. Simply 1. Another way of doing this problem is 3 over 5 times 5 over 3. I'm going to rewrite it. If you see 3 in the numerator and 3 in the denominator, you can cancel them out. So leaving this just once. Same thing with 5s. 5 in the numerator on the top, 5 in the denominator in the bottom. Also, it's 1. So simply put, it's just going to be 1 over 1 or 1. Next question. 101. 2 times 1/3 times 3 over 2. Again, this 2 is by itself. So we can write it as 2 over 1 times 1 over 3 times 3 over 2. This is an interesting problem as well because you can multiply them across all the way. 2 times 1 times 3 is 6. 1 times 3 times 2 is 6. Or you can do a shortcut. 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom cancel out. 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top cancel out. The answer is 1 over 1 or 1 again. Now we're going into division of fractions. Division of fractions is the same thing as multiplying by reciprocal. And let me demonstrate. So it's going to be negative 1 over 2. If you're dividing by negative 3 over 2, it's the same thing as if you multiply it by negative 2 over 3. All you do is you switch this 2 around. Switch places. So now negative times a negative, the answer is going to be a positive. Now it's going to be 1/2 times 2 over 3. And here we go. 2 and 2 here cancel out. So we're looking at 1 over 3. Final answer. Question 111. 3 over 2 divided by 2. Again, fraction and known fraction, so we need to rewrite it as 3 over 2 divided by 2 over 1. Before we go into multiplication, we need to switch the 2 over 1 to 1 over 2. So we're going to get 3 over 2 times 1 over 2. You always want to switch the numerator and denominator if you're changing it from division to multiplication and vice versa. Again, 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. The answer is 3 over 4. Next question, 112. 3 over 2 divided by 3 over 2. You can rewrite it actually as 3 over 2 divided by, see, this line means division, 3 over 2. Well, you already know, the answer is going to be 1. It's like 2 divided by 2 is 1, or 5 divided by 5 is 1. But just to show you how this is done, this is 3 over 2 times, switch them 2 around, 2 over 3. Again, 3 times 2 is 6 over 2 times 3 is 6. The answer is 1. 6 over 6 is 1. Last example on this page. Negative 9 over 5 divided by negative 1. Same thing as negative 9 over 5, which is multiplied by negative 1 over 1. Negative times a negative is a positive. So 9 over 5 positive times 1 is just simply 9 over 5. Question 122. Here we have a mixed number. It's a mixed number because you get a whole and some fraction part, like 1 4/7 or 2 1/2 or something like that. So we need to turn this number back into an improper fraction. How do you do that? You multiply these two, okay? So we're going to use multiplication here, and then you add what you have left over. So let me demonstrate it again. It's going to be 1 4/7. So if you multiply 1 times 7 is going to be 7, and then add that 4 all over 7. So the answer here is 11 over 7. That is the answer. Let's do it again in question 123. So here we go. 5 1/3. Once again, you multiply. I'm going to put a little multiplication dot in here, and then I'm going to put a little plus in here. So all you're going to have, it's always going to be over the same denominator. So 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. In the thought bubble here, I'm going to write it down. 5 times 3 plus 1. Okay, this is thought bubble. So the answer is 16 over 3. Let's do it one more time. Negative 2 and 8 over 7. The answer is still going to be a negative number and with the 8 in the denominator. So now let's double check here. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 7. 16 plus 7 is 23. So the answer is going to be 23 over 8. And just kidding, I forgot the negative. So the answer is going to be negative 23 over 8. Okay? Number 135. Here we got a mixed number times a whole number. So we need to convert it to improper fraction. Convert this to improper fraction. How do you do that? I just did a few examples early on. So it's going to be 4 2/3 times negative 6. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14 over 3 times negative 6 over 1. I would put it like that. Now, you know the answer is going to be a negative number because it's a negative times a positive. And see 14 and 3 in the bottom, 6 is in the top. So what I can do is I can reduce 3 and 6. 6 divided by 3 is like 2 over 1. 6 over 3 is like 2 over 1. So now you're looking at 14 times 2 over 1. 14 times 2 is 28. So the answer is going to be negative 28 over 1, or simply negative 28. It's one of the ways of doing this problem. Question 136. Here's a mixed number and another mixed number. We need to convert them first into improper fractions, then perform multiplication. So this one is going to be a fun one. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So it's 9 over 4 times a negative. 1 times 7 is 7, plus 3 is 10 over 7. Unfortunately, there's nothing much we can cancel out here right away. We can cancel these two out. We can reduce, rather. But I'm not going to show you how to do that just yet. 9 times 10 is 90. And 4 times 7 is 28. So the answer for now is 90 over 28. So I'm kind of going to circle it around. This is not the wrong answer. It's the correct one, but we need to simplify it a little bit more. We need to reduce. So we can divide both 90 and 28 by 2. 2 is present in both 90 and 28. So here's what's going to happen. So 90 divided by 28 is 45. 90 divided by 2 is 45, and 28 divided by 2 is 14. And that's it. That we cannot simplify them anymore. So divided by the common factor. And the last question for this section is going to be, again, division of mixed numbers. So 3 and 1/6. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19 over 6, divided by 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over 3. Then 19 over 6 is the same thing as dividing by 11 over 3 is the same thing as multiplying by 3 over 11. 3 and 6 can be canceled out. The answer is 19 over 22. We're going to do some more division problems. Number 138. You get a mixed number, and you get a 2 over divided by 2 over 9. So first of all, convert mixed number into improper fraction. Again, multiply over 10 is going to be over 10, right? Divided by 2 over 9. So 4 times 10 is 40, plus 9 is 49. Divided by 2 over 9 is the same thing as 49 over 10 multiply by 9 over 2. And at this point on, nothing much we can do. We could we gotta have to multiply across. So it's the answer is gonna be 49 times 9 over 20. And 49 times 9, I'm going to do it with no calculator. So 9 times 9 is going to be 81. I'm going to write down 1 here. Remember that there's 8 in there too. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 8 is going to be 44. So the answer is 441. So I'm going to write it 441 over 20. Both numbers are positive. And that's how we're going to finish this problem. Next set of problems is going to be decimals. Now, when you're adding or subtracting decimals, you got to make sure you're going to align decimal points. So here's how you're going to do it. It's going to be 3.8 plus 6.3, and in the answer too, the decimal has to be aligned with one another. 8 plus 3 is going to be 11, so I'm going to put 1 here, and remember that there's going to be 1 in there. Then 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 1 is 10. The answer here is 10.1. Next question, question 150. 4.07 minus 2.9. Again, same concept applies. 4.07 minus 2.9. Keep in mind that we need to align the decimals, and any space after the decimal we can fill with a bunch of zeros. And so right here, since we're dealing with 3 digits, we're going to have to do the 3 digits in the the second number. So check this out. Subtraction. 7 minus 0 is 7. 0 minus 9. We cannot do that, so we need to sort of borrow 1 from here, and this turns into 10, this turns into 3. Okay, so 10 minus 9 is going to be 1. Drop the decimal down. 3 minus 2 is 1. The answer is 1.17. Question 151, multiplication of decimals. This is a little different, but it's a lot more fun. So here we go. We just multiplied as normal. 3.4 times 1.4. Ignore the decimals for now. We don't need them just yet. I'll show you when we need them later. So, and pretend that it's like 34 times 14. So 4 times 4 is 16. Number 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. Don't forget that little 1. So that's first. Then second portion here is 1 times 4. Drop a 0 here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. Here you go. Add them together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 4 is 7. 1 plus 3 is 4. So we got 476. However, we need to count all numbers after decimal points. So for example, after the decimal, in the first multiple we get 4. In a second multiple we get 4 also. So how many numbers total? 1, 2. I'm sorry, not numbers, digits. So how many digits are there? 1, 1. So 2 digits. That means we gotta move the decimal here. 1, 2. So my answer is going to be 4.76. Okay, I'm going to write it down here. 4.76. We're going to practice a lot of those, and you guys will get it. Now, this one is probably the toughest one. So it's going to be 19.7 divided by 0.4. And here we go. You can't have a decimal in here. In here, you can't have a decimal. So you must move decimal to the right until you get a whole number. So how many units we're moving it? We're going to move it once. So I'm going to move it once here. If you move it here, you also got to move the same amount of units right here. Question 152. 19.7 divided by 0.4. So we're going to start with this. 19.7 divided by 0.4. And this is 152. So there's a problem. A big problem in here is it's a decimal. So you can't have decimal. So you gotta move this decimal point all the way to the right. So what that means is you got to take the decimal and just all the way move it to the right. How many units do you move it? Once. If you did that here, you also move the decimal as many times as you did in the divisor. So you got to move it once as well. That turns a problem simply into 197 divided by 4. And there you go. So now you just do your long division and you get the answer. So how many times this 4 goes into 19? It's 4 times. So I'm going to put it here. 4 times 4 is 16. 19 minus 16 is 3. Drop down the 7. So it's going to be 37. So 4 goes into 37 9 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 37 minus 36 is going to be 1. That goes your decimal now, and you're going to start dropping down zeros. Okay, so there's a bunch of zeros past the decimal. So here we go. How many times this 4 goes into 10? 2 times. 2 minus 8. The answer here is 2. And drop another 0. How many times does 4 go into 20? 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Minus 20 is 0. So the answer here is 49.25.